Hello everybody. My name is Ehsan. Actually, I was asked to do a workshop here on the influence of the blues in Bollywood. But I thought that workshop would probably last for about 6 minutes, if I talked about the blues in Bollywood. But what I'll start with, I'll just play a little bit of slow blues, and then we'll talk about the blues, the music, what happens to you guys when you get out of here. Because I've been to music school too, and I know what it's like to get out of school and then be faced with a career ahead. And so we'll get into that a little later. So sound good? Changes a little different. Yeah, I want to straight 12 bars. You're playing like a 8 bar blues, yeah? Cool. 1, 2, 3. So that is just a bit of blues. So what did I went to a school called the Musicians Institute, MI, which you guys must have heard of, back in '85. And I went there as a rock guitar player, and I was playing like AC/DC and Leonard Skinner, what was big at that time. And that's what I decided I wanted to be. I wanted to be a rock guitar player. And, I wanted to do the whole Van Halen thing, which I still can't do, by the way. I still try the two-handed shit and I can't get it. Anyway, and so I went there, and the orientation week of school, all the professors and the instructors did concerts. So we were divided into two batches. There's batch A and batch B for the concerts. So I was in batch B. So I was leaving for lunch, and there was the room of the performance hall was slightly ajar, And I heard this guitar player saying that, we're going to do some slow blues now. And he started his riff with. I said, man, who's this guy? I mean, what is this? I've not heard blues being played like that. And it was a guitar player called Robben Ford, who, a lot of you guys must have heard of. And I heard Robben Ford that day, and it changed my life. So I decided from that day I'm going to be a blues guitar player. So anyway, so you go through school, and I used to follow Robben Ford every time he did a live counseling and personal counseling and stuff like that. I'd go and hang out with him. So I was doing what he was doing, and of course you did the whole course. You learned everything else. I decided that even though I'm not a jazz guitar player or a bebop player or a country rock player or a country western player or a bossa player or a Latin player, I'm going to learn everything. So of course 1 year was not enough. You need so you did everything that you could in that 1 year. And then I decided, now I'm going home back to Bombay. And I came back to Bombay. Of course, my friends came to get me at the airport. Oh man, you studied music abroad and you've come back and stuff like that. And I wake up the next morning and I look out of the window and say, now what the hell am I going to do, man? Man, I mean, I'm just here. I've learned music for 1 year. My folks have paid for it. And what am I going to do now? So I was in this country for 3-4 days, and add to that the jet lag. I was completely hyped out. That man, this is not going to work out for sure. I'm jammed and I'm going to have to do a job. So as it happened, I got a call. I think this was kind of karmic, that I got a call from a jingle composer called Ronnie Desai. He called me up and said that, Ehsan, are you interested in playing jingles? I said, yeah, for sure. He says, can you play bass? I said, yes. I couldn't play bass, but I said, yes. I said, okay. So he said, do you have a bass? I said, no. He said, no, I'll borrow one. So I went for the first jingle that I did for 300 rupees. And that one experience, because when I got on to think, when the click started, I was in a panic. My heart was going 10 times the speed of the click. So I was in full panic mode, but I winged it. And I kind of got through it, and that led to one more thing, that led to one more thing. So suddenly here I was, the rock guitar player turned blues guitar player, now playing country western, and now playing melodies like For the Light Boy. So somebody called me and said, can you play on a Hindi jingle? So I said, yes, I can. The famous composer in Bombay called P.P. Vaidyanathan, and he used to do a lot of Hindi jingles and stuff like that. So he called me, and it was a 1-minute commercial for Aspro. I remember that very clearly. So, they all eat pan, that whole. He's talking to me with his mouth up like this. Aisa sir, wo 4 bar beech mein, can you play one guitar solo on it? I said, sure, sir. So it was 4 bars. This was an Aspro commercial. And so for me, guitar solo meant put on the overdrive and play. I played 2 bars. The whole place was in a panic, man. What are you doing? This whole track will get bounced if you play like this. But I said, sir, you asked me for a guitar solo. I said, no, this is not a guitar solo. I want something romantic. I said, oh my God, now what do I do here? So luckily there was a bass player there. He explained to me, this is what you do. And I winged that. So for me, I just realized that, man, here I am, for a person who started out with tunnel vision, that this is just what I want to do. And now I'm putting myself into these kind of situations where, I really don't know what I'm going to do next. But I have to do something, because what do? I still want to work as an accountant, which I also have done. Not as an accountant, an assistant to an assistant accountant. That's what I've done. So I said, do you want to do that, or do you want to be a professional musician? So I said, yeah, man, I'm telling myself that all the time. I want to be a professional musician. So if it meant going back and listening to R.D. Burman songs and seeing how Dilip Nayak played guitar on his songs, I went and did that as well. So that was the first important lesson that, being a professional musician taught me. Man, when you step out there, you've got two choices. Say that this is what I want to do. I want to play like death metal and just do that, and maybe not make a living at it. It's very possible. You'll do about 10 gigs a year. NH7, this, that, or do everything that you can and make a living at it. And that is a big thing that all you guys are going to be confronted with. Once you get out of here, you're going to say that, man, what am I going to do? So, some guys must be only into Guthrie Gob, and some guys must be only into something else. And you say, I only want to shred, or I only want to do this. But my suggestion is do everything, and this is your opportunity. When you're in school to interact, we've got so many players coming in from abroad and stuff who know so much and know so many styles. Make it a point to learn everything. Make it a point to learn everything, because you don't know what kind of curveball is going to come at you when you're out there. So whether it meant for me playing romantic guitar solos for an Aspro commercial, or somebody else called me up, and that was the first jingle I got with Louis Banks. So he said that, man, Ehsan, I want you to come. It's a heavy metal jingle. No, I'm not a heavy metal player. I said, yes, of course I can play heavy metal. So I got there, and I turned the overdrive up, and it was just like that kind of thing, So he said, okay, now it's time for your solo. So I said, okay, now, man, I'm jacked, because, what am I going to do for heavy metal? So I said, okay, well, let me just play the blues faster with more overdrive. So I did that, and I winged it again, man. I said, yay, So that is the thing, man. You have to suddenly in a situation put yourself into being adaptable. Most important thing for any professional musician. Tomorrow, choices you've got. Do a job or play as a professional musician. Tomorrow you may get a call from Ilayaraja sir saying that I want you to come and play one of my old songs. You can't say, no boss, I'm a rock guitar player, I can't do that. You'll go back and learn that stuff and do it because you want to exist and you want to survive playing music. So, so then I get into situations, I get called to compose a jingle. And again I said, yes, no problem. I've never composed a jingle in my life. So I've been given a commercial. I've got a video which I've taken home, and I said, man, now what do I do? What am I supposed to do? So I called up a couple of friends of mine, who are composers. I said, this guy called Shiv Mathur. I said, Shiv, I've got this commercial which I want to do. I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to do but now? How do I know where the music comes? So he said, do you have a metronome? So I said, yeah. So at that time, you couldn't lock your metronome with tape and stuff like that. You did it manually. It was 3 blips, and you went pick, pook, 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 you went that. And that again I winged. I did it, it was a commercial which had to be done on New Year's Day, which nobody else wanted to do because it was New Year's Day. So I said, yes, I'll do it. So I got there. The keyboard player from industry, Zubin Balapore, you must have heard of him? Yeah. Him and me. We went at 10:30 in the morning on New Year's Day. Zubin was still smelling of vodka, and which is not a good thing, but in the situation it was okay. And we winged it, man. We did it, and the commercial became a success, and next thing my career changed into being a jingle composer. So, you get carried by this wave of things, but a lot of things that you can't ride that wave unless you're completely open-minded. So learning is like the main thing that you guys are going to do, and this is what the school will teach you. And what will happen? Some other thing that I realized that when I finished school, and I'd come, and then when I was playing I had a band with Ranjit Barot. We used to do it was a band called Mickey's New Home, which is to like progressive pop. I would call it best at progressive pop, like Level 42 and that kind of stuff. So when I'd be playing like on the solo, so now I'd be thinking, now I can play melodic minor on this, I can play harmonic minor on this, I can play the blues on this, and as a result of which I'd botch my solo up completely. When the time came, no, I'm singing, no, my play pentatonic, no, harmonic minor, no, I'll do melodic minor. So I said, no man, and every time I do it, Ranjit stopped and said, what the hell are you doing, boss? This is not a guitar lesson. You're playing in a band, so do your solo, just play from the heart. That's one thing you're going to have to do. All the stuff that you learn is stuff that you will absorb over time. So, don't step out of here expecting to be a jazz rock guitar player overnight, or go and play over the changes of giant steps overnight. Maybe you will, some of you will, because, some people are that talented. So that is something that will keep happening. You'll suddenly get confronted by all this knowledge that you have, and then suddenly you'll be confronted by a situation that you have to play in where you would like to apply that knowledge, but because you're looking at it academically, you may completely botch it up. So that's something which I always realize, so I say, man, I don't need to do this. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I just playing a solo which sounds like a scale played from top to the bottom? So I said, no. Then what I started doing is I said, let me play what I'm comfortable with it. I started playing the blues on the solo. So then, okay, I've thrown some harmonic minor. When I hear the solo back, I said, man, everything that I've applied is stuff which I've learned, but I've not thought about it when I'm playing. So that made a big difference. When I had that attitude, it made a complete difference to my playing. So of course, again, this situation couldn't be applied for an Aspro commercial, but you had to do this kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, I'm in a situation where somebody's calling me up that, man, we're doing a commercial for Ching sauces, and we want like Chinese music here. Can you do it? I said, of course I can do it, yeah. So what do? I got hold of the soundtrack of The Last Emperor. I heard it, and I said, no, not that I'm going to copy anything from it. I said, let me get into the space. I mean, I could have gone and eaten at a Chinese restaurant, but that wouldn't have been good enough. Because that is music that plays there. It's not music that you do for film. And I learned, man. I said, oh man, these guys use these kind of intervals, which is normally a lot. You can't just play black keys, and get all the pentatonics. But you want to take it ahead. How do you harmonize behind that? And we did this commercial, and it just sounded beautiful. It almost came up for one of the advertising awards at that time, because it was just so pretty. So that's the kind of stuff that you say that, oh man, here's my achievement. Here is my schooling. So your schooling starts here, and your schooling ends the day you die. You know what I mean? So every day, for me, every day is a learning process. I wake up even now in the morning, and I have a recording that day for Rock On 2 maybe. That's what we're working on right now. And I'll be sitting in the morning and working out like, some more applications of the diminished scale. I'll do that kind of stuff. So every morning for me is a learning thing. I sit in the morning and learn something new, whether I use it, whether I don't use it. But for me, I have to learn something every day. And that is your progression. That is your education continues beyond this. This is setting you up for that. And then you have a life ahead of music, which hopefully all you guys want to do. You guys want to die with your boots on. You want to play music right till the end. So the thing is, what you do, you learn music right till the end. You've got all the books from here that you'll carry. You'll have. So even I do that even now. I've got a full file of my MI stuff, which I still pull out. And there'll be an etude, an E minor, harmonic minor etude. So I'll take like 4 bars of that and just learn it for the day. Sit with it and play it. You may not remember it at the end of the day, but your mind has got set into something. It's a kind of process. It's a kind of therapy that you go through, in terms of that this is what I need to do. You need to open your mind, and stuff like this will open your mind. So I say, most important thing about when you guys get out of here, please don't suffer from tunnel vision. I know people, man. The other day I wanted to jam on a blues with somebody who's a guitar player, and I said, okay, man, let's do a blues in like C sharp. I love C sharp because B.B. King used to do a lot of tunes in C sharp. So he says that, man, I can't play in C sharp. So I said, what do you mean? He says, no, man, I can't play in C sharp. I can only play blues in E, A, G, and maybe C. That doesn't work for me, And then the thing is that tomorrow, you guys may be called to join a band, maybe it's a Hindi band or a Tamil band or something like that. And the singer will want all the keys to be sharp keys. In Indian music, a lot of female singers like sharp keys, A flat, B flat, G sharp, because that is the right range for a woman's key in the kind of music that we do. So if tomorrow you're going to do that and say that, man, I can't play that, you're in deep trouble. You're out. You're out that moment. So that is another very important thing you guys want to do. I'm sorry this is sounding kind of preachy. I hope I'm not sounding preachy. Yeah. But, so you're put into a situation like that and you have to do it. Now, once I got called, this is a very funny story actually. I was going to pick up Ranjit. Ranjit was playing drums with Lakshmikant Pyarelal. You must have heard of Lakshmikant Pyarelal. So I was there because I was doing another recording with Louis Banks. So Ranjit said, pick me up and we'll go and eat lunch. So I said, okay. So I landed up at Mehboob studio and I just happened to go there. I put my guitar and stuff on the side. And I was watching Ranjit in this record because the whole Hindi film recording was quite unique at that time. All the musicians played together in this huge hall. And when you sat on this side, the string section was in the other side. And there was a 1 second delay between the strings and you. So can you imagine what it's like? It's like tripped out completely, man. You know, and so I'm sitting there and Pyare Bhai says that, you're a guitar player. No? So I said, yeah, I'm a friend of Ranjit, so I hope you don't mind, I'm sitting here. He said, no, plug in. I said, boss, please, yeah, please don't let me plug in. Then after he went inside, his brother Gorak, who's a very good guitar player, even now he plays beautiful. He came and told me that, man, you have to play. I mean, sir's asked to play, you have to play. So I said, well, what do I do? He said, no, he put a sheet of music in front of me. I said, panic. It looked like dead flies, the whole paper, you know. I said, man, what am I going to do? And then there's a guy with me sitting next to me called Arvind Haldipur, who's playing guitar synth. So he said, don't worry, I'll show it to you. You know, so I learnt it and it is completely anti anything that I would do in a normal way, you know. Line was, that kind of stuff. And then one line. So I said, okay, let me play this. So I winged it, yeah. So I did it. And it was fun. Then I said that, man, why did I have such a block towards this? Needless to say, from the next day I started getting calls from Lakshmikant Pyarelal every day, which I didn't take. But you know, that's because that's not what I wanted to do. But such an experience, you know. So I mean, you know, and then after that I got calls from Kalyanji, Anji, Ye, Wo, Babla and his orchestra, which was another tripped out recording for me because I went there the only so-called Western musician. And I go and sit there and there was this lovely keyboard player called Benny Rosario. He died a few years ago. So he said, Ehsan, I made the chord charts out for you in one line, right from the beginning to end, so you'll know what to play. So then I have Babla sitting in front of me and he's like a percussion player. And there is his whole band, who all there to give advice, but not good enough to play on the album. So they've called studio musicians to play, you know. So I said, great. So Babla, you know, and the thing is that little communication, sir, can you give me, also with pan in his mouth, by the way. Sir, show me your tone, please. Okay, this tone. Not good tone. Give me another tone. So I said, okay. So I changed my pickup to, no, not good tone. I said, now what do I do, man? You know, I said, like this thing. Then after some tuning, and there's the vibraphone, which is giving the tuner and tuning notes, because they wouldn't you tune to a tuner. I'm tuned to a tuner, which is in 100% tuning, you know, digital tuning. So then this other guitar player was on this thing called Ramesh Iyer, and he says, man, just put on your chorus and tune. So I said, but the chorus will like detune the whole thing, man. So he said, no, put on your chorus and tune. I said, okay, so put on the chorus and it was like all, oh. But this guy said, perfect tuning. You know what I mean? So this is the next thing I learned. The next time I went, put on your chorus and tune, man. Because, you know, you're working with dholaks, you're working with this. No one's in 100% tuning. And at that time, no one was. Now, dholak players also have their own clip-on tuners that they carry and tune to, you know. So then that's the way I winged this recording, man. And then, you know, next thing, you know, oh man, we wanted to go on tour with us to West Indies. I said, please, you know, these all things. So that's another situation that, you know, I got into. I started doing Hindi film recordings. You know, a lot of the Hindi composers started calling me. And then they started calling me for what I could do. You know, like, man, you know, we want you to add a certain touch here. So this was the thing, but at the same time, I'd be doing all this, you know, because I came across a lot of musicians, especially in the Indian studios, you know, like lovely guitar players, you know, who Sunil Kaushik, Ramesh Iyer, Tabun, all fabulous guitar players. I mean, they have technique which can eat anybody up, you know. My technique is not even 1% of what those guys can do. But the problem is that they got so into the studio space and just doing that, that they've lost their style, they've lost their identity, that, man, you know what is my style of playing? You know, I'm doing all the studio stuff which you can do like, you know, in one take. And, but where is my style? You know, I don't have an identity. So that's one thing, that's one lesson I learned there. You know, I said, then, man, you can keep doing the commercial stuff, but at the same time, now this works the other way. Is that where you converted yourself to completely adapt to different styles, never lose sight of your dream, which was that you wanted to play the blues or you wanted to play rock. So I used to go home and still practice that. You know, I'd play the blues, I'd work out B.B. King, I'd sit and work out an Albert King solo, or I'd work out a Freddie King solo, or Robin Ford. So I'd do this every day. I'd be doing that, and I'd be doing this. And which is where I've really grown as the musician which I am now. And once I started doing Hindi films, you're suddenly thrown a curveball every time. We want an album which is only Punjabi, we want an album which is only rock. And the thing is, so that I had no preset notions right now. That, so I'm saying I'm adaptable to all kinds of things. So Shankar, Loy and I, three of us, completely different schools of music, completely different styles of music. And this is where we've been able to reinvent ourselves for every album that we do. Whether it's Rock On, or whether it's a Dil Dharakne Do, or a Dawn, or a Kill Dil. If it's once, like Kill Dil wanted cowboy music, Now that is as cowboy a theme as any cowboy theme I've heard. But where does it come from? It's not that it's come from, it's because I sat, not at that time, but in the old days, I used to find my dad's records and stuff like that, which were all these, the Ventures and the Shadows and stuff like that. So I went back and listened to all that stuff, and I still love it. It's not that I listen to it from any kind of academic approach. That, man, I need to learn this. No, I want to edit it because I enjoy it. So that's another thing that you do, is listen to all kinds of music, So now, like I attended a workshop in Bombay with Guthrie Govan. And of course, I can't even play 0.0001% of what he can play. But somebody asked him that, man, how do you play fast? What do you do to play fast? He's saying you can practice till your metronome catches fire. Or you can play one note like B.B. King, You can do that and you've got the whole soul and the whole universe behind these three notes, or sit and practice to play fast and have no soul in it. So he's saying now all you guitar players here who like to listen to me, listen to my influences. I'm influenced by the Shadows, I'm influenced by Elvis Presley's guitar player, I'm influenced by Jimi Hendrix, I'm influenced by country western players. And then go and listen to their influences. So, go all the way back, man. You listen to the blues, you listen to B.B. King. Now, you can sit and work out all the B.B. King riffs, or you can go back and listen to T-Bone Walker, or listen to, Robert Johnson. Listen to that kind of stuff. Now, if you listen to Eddie Van Halen, who's like, he's made that style of two-handed guitar playing, like it's become a universe in itself. But his only influence is Eric Clapton. Do you guys know that? That he can play any Eric Clapton guitar solo at any time, be it from Cream or be it from the newer Clapton. He only plays Eric Clapton otherwise. Yeah. Scott Henderson, the famous fusion guitar player, you guys must have all heard him. His biggest influence is Jimmy Page. He knows every Led Zeppelin song possible. Jeff Berlin, the bass player, he's worked out all of Eric Clapton's solos on bass. That's what he started with. So, you have to go back. You have to go back. That's your learning, man. Now the internet, what's happened with the internet is that you get this very short-term kind of memory. It's like kids today will study from an exam and, you have everything online and you learn it. You do your exam, you do very well, but 2 days later you've forgotten everything. And that's what the internet's doing to everybody. It's material and information that's available right there. I want to learn a song. I want to learn like Pat Metheny's solo on Giant Steps. There's somebody out there who's transcribed it and it's on YouTube, you'll work it out. But the point is, either you do that, or then you go back and listen to Giant Steps. Or listen to Giant Steps and go back and do a little more research and find out who did John Coltrane listen to? Where did John Coltrane come from? Did he listen to Benny Goodman, the clarinet player? Or did he listen to something else? Did he listen to Fats Waller, the piano player? What did he listen to? Miles Davis? So you do that, and that's where I use the internet. For me, the internet's not about short-term thing. Because I found at one time, I was trying to get so much info, like offhand, I've forgotten the name of a movie. Look it up on the internet. What's the name of the actor in this film? I've forgotten. Look up the internet. I realized I was forgetting more and more. And the thing is, that's going to be a problem, which I know, and I think a lot of people fear with generations to come, that it's going to be a huge problem. Because there's so much information available, it just flashes in front of you, and it flashes out of you before you know it. So, do that. Use the internet to get that goldmine of information which is there, which is older information, which is not things that you just want to look at and just want to, pick up for a moment and then forget. That's what I'm saying. Go back. Listen to influences, listen to people, listen to all kinds of music. Make it a point. every day that you guys are going to go home and listen to a song that you wouldn't have listened to normally. You know, anything you want, whether it's Hindi music, whether it's like Australian music, whether it's like Polish music, whether it's rock, metal, anything that you want which you've not listened to in the last 10 days. Put on that song and listen to it and maybe even work it out. You know? Like the other day, Loy and I are doing an operation, like a thing between the two of us. So let's find tunes. So we said, let's take a tune like. You know something? Both of us, including Jim Satya, who is the keyboard player from Chennai, neither of us knew that tune beyond 6 bars, how to play it. We can sing it, but neither of us could play it. That says something, no? You learn it and you always sing it and all that, but can you play it? You can't. Can't. Because why? You've thought it's too simple. Oh man, it's do or dear, yeah. Theek hai. You know, but you can't play it. So the thing is, the other thing that we've started, Loy and me, learn a melody of a song every day. Whether it's an ABBA tune or something. Learn how to play it on guitar, or learn how to play it on keyboard, or learn how to sing it. You know, or learn how to play it on bass, even more difficult. Take do or dear and play it on bass, man. I'm telling you, the first time you play it, you will not get it. And even if you get it, there's certain chromatic notes which you will not pick up. So then, of course, Loy and Shankar got driven crazy because the whole day I was playing do or dear. You know, whether it's with distortion or with a tremolo arm or, you know, with an acoustic guitar. Shankar said, boss, I know you guys are in this academic stuff, but please give us a break from it. So I said, okay. So that goes on, you know. I mean, I doodle the whole day. You know, both Loy and I, when we're either on his piano or when I'm on my guitar, I'm doodling with the volume off. I'm trying to play like chord changes. I'm trying to play lines, anything all the time. You know, you've got to keep that thing going. And it's not about playing just the style which you like. You know, and the thing is that I'm telling you this from first-hand experience because I would not be doing what I'd be doing if I didn't have an open mind to it. You know, man, I mean, the thing is that Hindi films was never part of my vision ever. You know, I never thought that I'd be part of the Hindi film industry. But then I figured that, man, you know, it is work. You know, I needed the work, you know, at that time. You know, whenever the work came, I said, I'm not going to say no to it. And once in the situation, then you're put into the situation, man. You have to do this, you have to do that. Like on Bhag Milkha Bhag, Rakesh Mehra came and said, I want to do a country western song. So, as usual, we said, yes, no problem. You know? And of course, you know a bit, but I know that style of music is really tough to play. And I must say myself, I can't really play the music, but I can think the music. You know what I mean? I can think about putting a reverb, like a short reverb on my guitar or slapback delay, and making it sound like, you know, one of those guitar players. And I can think of like, so, you know, you can do that, and you do that, and then you've got a song, and then you're really proud of it, because you've done something which is authentic in the style. But it may not necessarily be the real thing, you adapted it, you know. But it's all because of that. A.R. Rahman's another example. He can play any style of music. He can play classical, he can play rock. I've heard him playing great blues. Once in the studio he was there, and he was just sitting by himself on a B3 organ playing blues. You know, and I said, man, you know, this is what we don't hear of you, you know. So he said, man, this is the soul. You know, it's the soul. And then he does everything else because he loves it and because he has to also work, you know. And the same thing's going to apply to all you guys, man. You're all going to have to work, you know. Just think about it. I mean, I don't know what are the plans with most of you people have in terms of what you all want to do. You know, I mean, some people may want to go abroad to study more. Some people may want to get into film scoring. I met a guy the other day who said, no, I want to get into film scoring. So I said, tell me about like 5 film scores you heard. He couldn't name 5 film scores, you know. So I said, how are you going to get into film scoring? No, I want to get into it. I said, man, you can't say that you want to get into it. Because you have to do your research on it, man. Be sure about what you're doing and do it properly, you know. Listen to John Williams. Listen to Jerry Goldsmith. Listen to the old cowboy films. Listen to some old Hindi films. Mughal-e-Azam, all these old composers. Ilaiyaraaja's scores, they're fabulous. Listen to all this stuff and say, otherwise you'll never get anywhere. You know, and listen to all the modern stuff as well. And then if you're going to be a film scorer, you can't say that I'm only going to listen to classical film scores. That's not enough. You have to listen to all kinds of music. Today, EDM is very big in film scores. Today, you know, rock is used in film scores. You know, like all kinds of music. You have to learn it all. So that is the thing that, you know, I do every day. You know, and sometimes it's exhausting, I must say. By the end of the day, I'm like so tired that I don't want to listen to music anymore. But for me, I mean, like, you know, I've had a gig now for how many years? I've been doing music professionally for 29 years now. And I must say that, It's been a blessing because, you've got work, you become popular, people love your music. But my biggest blessing is, for me, I am still a student every day. Every day of the week, I'm a student. Every day of the week, every moment, I'm a student. Right now, I popped in and some people, I can't remember the name of the singer. She's working out Footprints by Wayne Shorter. So, I just popped in and listened to that. I said, oh man, they're harmonizing so beautifully. I wanted to go and ask them, man, what is the turnaround chords that you're playing? But I didn't want to disturb them, of course. So that's the kind of stuff for me every day which keeps me alive as a musician. It's not my career, it's not the success, it's not the money. It's your learning and your passion for being a musician. And to know, this is a very big thing what musicians don't realize, that you don't know how blessed you are. You have been, the light has shone upon you. So the point is that if you're going to screw it up, you're going to take that blessing and completely disrespect it by saying that, no man, I'm only going to do this or I'm only going to do that. You're completely disrespecting your thing. You don't know how blessed you are. So if you want to hold on to that, then hold on to that energy, and eventually, what is music about? It's not about you and me. I can sit at home and play all day, but I need to play music for people to appreciate. I need you guys to appreciate it. I need my audience to appreciate it. And what do you get back from them? It's a blessing. So it's only positive. So keep that positivity as your base, and then just expand. It'll just explode. It'll explode into something bigger than you know. And then you'll find yourself surviving in any kind of music situation. You may be a jingle composer, you may be a singer, you may be a guitar player as a backup band, you may be a DJ, you may even join a record company as an A&R person. It's all valid. And like somebody was telling me the other day about, oh man, that, Kenny G's music is not good. Oh man, he's like too commercial, man. I said, what's wrong with Kenny G? I said, do any of you guys know what a good sax player he is? What you hear, Songbird and that pa-da-da-da-da-da is all the popular stuff. I've heard him play a concert where he's played like bebop, like right through, and a solo for about 20 minutes, So it's like, you don't mess around, man. He's got something and he's found something that connects. So there again, don't say I'm not going to do commercial music, because you want to do commercial music. You know what I mean? You want to do it that people connect with your music. I'm not saying that you compromise it completely. You keep your aesthetics, you keep your values, you keep your beauty which is in your music, your soul which is in your music, but present it in a way to people that they like it. And then what you get back from them is something that you will not forget for the rest of your life. I've been to a concert where 80,000 people, when we perform Ma from Tare Zameen Par, have held up their mobile phones. 80,000 people in Jaipur, That experience is something I'll never forget. And it happens over and over again. And that's when I look up and I said, God, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for giving this to me. And thank you so much for making me have an open mind to be able to do all this and enjoy myself, So whether I'm doing Tare Zameen Par, or I'm doing Bunty or Bubbly, or I'm doing, Kajare, that kind of stuff, or I'm doing rock on, I'm having a blast doing it, man. And what am I? I'm a blues guitar player. Where did I start? I'm still that. I don't compromise that at all. I am still that every day of the month, every hour of every minute of the day. But I am everything else, and because I love to be everything else. And the same thing with Shankar. He's not just a classical musician. He sings in Marathi, he sings bhajans, he sings fusion with McLaughlin. Loy does jazz. He just did a jazz concert the other day with Alisa, who's from Swarnabhumi. So, all kinds of stuff here. So, and this, I hear more and more musicians, no, I only want to do this. No, man, it's going to be damn tough to learn that. Why? Why? You're a human being, man. Nothing is impossible here. Of course, you can't do certain things. I can't play giant steps. But I can wing my way through. I still can't wing my way through it. But I can wing my way through some fake jazz and that kind of stuff I can do, man. I can compose jazz. I've composed jazz songs for this film, which I've composed entirely on my own. I can't do Indian classical. Shankar is the Indian classical king. But the Indian classical parts for Kajare have been composed by me. Why? Because you bounce off, You bounce off. You listen to the stuff. I don't go home and listen to, I have my favorite rags. I love Rag Yaman. I love Bhim Palasi. But I don't listen to it, like listen to it. But when you hear a bit of it, you let it touch you with that openness that, I was telling Prakash, remember Bhim Palasi? I told you to play it for me when we did the MTV Coke studio. So that that excites, you listen to it because everything has got a soul. And I mean, I believe that EDM has got a soul. I mean, I listen to trance music and I think it really revs you up, man. What is that? It's connecting, no? It's connecting. But then I get people, no, man, I can't listen to this music. I say, at least listen to it, see what it does to you. No, it's electronic dance music. I only want to listen to Grateful Dead. Man, okay, boss, do that. Live there, But I don't want to live in that hole. I want to live right out there. I want to be all over. I may do 2,000 things but not do them perfectly, but I know I can do them in a way which will connect to people and, give back to me. So that is the thing. I mean, I could keep talking about this, but the point is that you have to know how blessed. That's the main thing. Know how blessed you are. Know how you can take this thing so much forward in your careers. And the other thing, which for me is the most important thing, which I've always maintained. Some of you guys will make it. Some of you guys will be stars. Some of you guys will not make it. The thing is that never lose your music. That man, you know that blessing is still with you. Even if you sit at home and play by yourself, it's still with you. And the other thing that if you guys make it and become stars, remember one thing: let that stardom and let that success go to your feet, not to your head. Let it ground you even more. Let it ground you even more. That man, I am still that basic musician that I was 30 years ago, and that will never change. Well, that's it, I guess. I don't know what to talk. If you're good, you'll get into it. See, the thing is, like I've said, that success, and I don't mean success in terms of becoming a star. It means in terms of being a busy musician is a long time coming. You will have to go and knock on doors, and you may give demos to people who will not use you. But you have to realize it's not that they're not using you because they don't like your demo. It's because there's so many other things happening. There's a lot of new singers coming up every day who are going out with bands on the road. So many. There's Aditi Singh Sharma. There's like Arijit Singh. All these guys, man, they've got bands. They need good musicians. And there's always a recommendation, man. I mean, so many people who send me demos. I listen to all the demos. And, a lot of people have also got breaks, through us, through Shankar Loy and me, that, we've recommended people to sing. But the thing is, also there, when you go in to do studio work, try and give them something which they haven't heard. And when they haven't heard, I don't mean that you need to do like, two-hand stuff or play only Carnatic music. Say, go and learn country western. You've got the chops. Learn it and play that for them. They'll get blown away, man. I want this. I want this in my next song. So come and work with me. And all that. So that's very important. Sound, equipment and stuff like that. I mean, what has to be done. Work on that thing, whatever it means, taking a loan and not drinking beer for the next 6 months. Then go and buy that piece of equipment and, don't buy an expensive mobile phone. Buy an Axe FX for if you want. Take a loan, buy it. But be ready with that. You'll have to give them stuff which they haven't heard. You've got better tone than other people. So I mean, that's the thing in the studios where I said, I didn't have the chops. People like Leslie Lewis, Ramesh Iyer and all could play anything, man. I couldn't. I really couldn't. I can't play all that fast stuff. Even today, I can't play fusion. I panic when I'm put into a fusion to show that Takadimi and all that means gone. I was just telling him that I think I should come and learn from him. And I've got my partner as the fusion king of the world here, Shankar Mahadevan, who I still get nervous playing in front of, when I'm doing a recording, and he's so cool, but I still get nervous in front of him. So do that, so once you're on top of it, you'll come with different stuff, give them good tone, give them a good vibe, more than anything, a good vibe and a good attitude, man. You don't want to come late for recordings, you don't want to be drunk the night before. No way, man. Even today, I don't have a drink before a concert. Never. That connection between my brain and my hand is gone. It's gone. I'll be playing blues, but I'll be playing blues like by heart. So that creative thing is gone. Pranayams make you higher than any drinks, I'll tell you that, man. I've learned it the hard way. I'll tell you about it. But do that. So you'll get it. If you're this thing, it'll be a little long time. Bombay is a little tough because of the staying and all that kind of stuff. But if you can get around that and you're set up well, good tone and, you've got a good knowledge of chords and stuff like that, that's very important. Because the thing is that a music composer may give you like, I want to just quote an example of Andy Summers from The Police. So what is Every Breath You Take? Every breath you take. The chords are simple. Now the thing is that he could have played it, every breath you... He could have done that and made it into like some old doo-wop kind of song. Or then what did he do? He did. He did that and took the song into a different zone. This guitar line makes a song with the vocals. The combination of the two, and that's what, for me, Andy Summers is for any guitar player or anybody, is the guitar player to listen to know what mind expansion is like. That, man, how did he take a simple thing and make it beautiful? A lot of his songs I've learned, a lot of the stuff like... all this stuff. And actually, we had a class in school, which is the guitar style analysis of Andy Summers, which I attended every lecture of, So, do all that kind of stuff. And that's what makes you wanted, Michael Landau. You heard of Michael Landau? Fabulous guitar player, studio. He's got chops, but he's not. There were other guitar players at that time who had these blistering chops here. But what did he give? Tone. His things that when he played those chords with Richard Marx, or whether he played with Steve Perry, or he played with Joni Mitchell, his sound, that chorus sound that Michael Landau got, nobody's matched so far. Only he knows how to get it. Everybody's tried. Steve Lukather, everybody's tried. But nobody gets it. And humility was. That is the main thing. Don't go and say that I know all this and I know all this and I can do all this. Situations go and tell me, what do you want me to do? And I'll try to do it in my best way possible way. Well, see, the thing is, that is the tough part. A lot of these guys are extremely busy. But we're approachable, man. You can approach us anytime you want. If you have something, you can email us from 100%. Make a demo of whatever you do. You don't do what you're comfortable with doing, which you know you can do well, and send that. Because see, the thing is, like I said, in the studio business, you have to wing your way through a lot of stuff. It's not that if somebody says play country western music, you have to wear a big a big bowler. You have to wear like a cowboy hat and come to the studio, But you have to, wing your way through it. And then how do you do something so it sounds correct for the song? It'll happen. It takes a little time. But eventually one small job here, a small job there, and next thing you know, you're in. Are you looking from a point of view of being a busy musician? Then your sound is every sound that you're good at. You know what I mean? Every sound that you're good at. You can sing Carnatic, go and do it perfectly. If you can sing, you can also sing the blues, do that as well. It's all your sound. It is your sound. The point is, it stops being your sound if you want to go and sound like another singer. I don't want to hear a demo of somebody who sounds like Celine Dion. No, man, I don't want that. I want somebody who sounds like herself, or himself. I don't want someone who sounds like Asha Bhosle, because I don't want that. I want to know what you can do. So if you sing just a blues song, sing it in the way you sing it. And if it's a cover song by another singer, make sure you don't sing it like her, because whatever you may try, better or worse, you can't sound like her or him. And vice versa. She can't sound like you either. So your soul and what your sound is, and then eventually what you may do for yourself in terms of doing an album or something, maybe anything that you want to do which is close to you. It's not about necessarily being commercial in that point of view. So if you want to do just like country western, that's also fine. As long as you do it well. Well, vocals, that's a really tough one, I'll tell you, man. I'll tell you because it's not, but only because there's so many vocalists. There's a lot of vocalists. We get how many demos the other day? Some of them are not very good. Some of them are very good. Some of them are terrible. I have to say that too, Yeah, you have to really, and the thing is that what we started doing now, if a singer comes to meet us, a lot of other music composers say, come and be in touch with us and all. And nothing's going to happen. Shankar, Loy and I made it a point that if the singer is not good or we find any shortcomings in the demo, we'll tell you. Shankar will tell you that do your riyaz for the next 2 years and come back. And believe it or not, we've had singers who've come back that way, and come back much better. Do a reality check. That's another thing, man. Do a reality check all the time. That, never think you're number one, because the moment you think you're number one, you're gone. You're far behind, There's always somebody else who will just come up and take your place. So yeah, it is tough, but, especially for the Hindi film thing, it is very important, I feel, and a lot of people don't think that also, but I think classical training is very important. Hindustani, Carnatic, whatever you want, it is very important, because that is the essence of Hindi music still. Still, even when we compose, whether it's for any kind of film, the basic thing is that. It's not like when you're doing rock on, it's different. But if you come and sing like a Hindi ballad or, like some kind of Hindi pop song, even if it's the time to disco, you see the way the inflections or like Shankar composes are Indian inflections, And eventually it all adds up to some scale or something. So it's not like you can say that the blues are isolated from Indian classical. It'll add up to some scale somewhere, but it'll be differently interpreted. So yeah, it's tough, but it's not worth trying. I'd say that. There is a big shortage of good bass players. I'll tell you that, man, myself. We work with the best. We work with Sheldon. We work with Adi. We work with Divya. We work with Carl Peters. But the thing is, when they're not available, we're jacked. So Loy plays bass. Loy is good. Loy is a good bass player. But we need good bass players. And the thing is, it's not about. We don't want to hear a demo where you can play it like a speed, like an express train. Put on a R&B song and groove with it, and that is what I want to hear. I want to hear where your soul is at, because your brain sometimes gets ahead of your soul, and that's a very common thing with a lot of guitar players, especially, who want to play so fast, like I said, like the metronome will catch fire, But that's not what I want to hear. I want to hear you play one note like B.B. King, or play a little rhythm part and say that, oh man, this really sits beautifully. That's what will turn me on, and that's what will turn on any professional musician, any true professional musician. So, I'm sure you must be learning a lot of stuff, all your 251s and, flat 5 subs and all that. But if I hear your demo, I want to hear your styles, number one, and I want to hear how you groove on a simple piece of music. Because in the studio, you're not asked to come and play all that stuff. You know what I mean? I just want you to play. And I want to hear with what commitment you do that. That is the thing. So there is a shortage of bass players, and especially in the live circuit. Very often we get jammed when our bass player is not free, and because he's got gigs with Farhan Akhtar and stuff like that. Then we get jacked. So Loy then takes over bass, and somebody else takes over keyboards. But if you got a demo, we'll be more than welcome, more than happy to hear it. There's guitar players in Bombay. There's a guy called Taposh Roy, and he plays guitar. Of course, he plays all the acoustic instruments. He plays banjo. He plays ukulele. He plays the oud, the Arabic oud. He plays the saz. He plays little bit of slide guitar as well, but not like what Prakash plays, but more like just basic stuff. So these guys are all there. Playing multi-instruments is a must, man. When I do some programming myself, I'm not a keyboard player, but I can do a little bit. I hear pads. I like to hear textures. So I do that all the time. But not that I'm going to be called for a session for that, because they do it, they'll have a big disaster on their hands. Yeah. I'll tell you something, I can compose a background score for Bhag Milkha Bhag. But a lot of film composers who are there right now can't do a 30-second jingle. But it's very difficult, because in 30 seconds you've got to tell a whole story. I promise you, I've done a 30-second commercial that begins in prehistoric times and comes to the modern age. Prehistoric times, of course, nobody knew what is the music. But you have to still compose for it, no? And you still have to progress. So how do you do that? Give that to like a film composer, most of them right now, and they'll panic. Because, and it's only 30 seconds. You'll say that, man, what can I do in 30 seconds? The 30 seconds you can have like the universe, man. So start from jingles. Do jobs even for free, if you want. Get a filmmaker who's a friend maybe and tell them, man, let me do a commercial for you. I'll do the music for free. Do it if you like it, then you pay me. So if it gets approved, then you have a demo. You have one film, you can play that to somebody else. Put it onto YouTube, put it onto Facebook, and it'll start. There are a lot of, in fact, Loy and I used to do like, we used to do 20 jingles a month for 5 years. So now you can imagine how many jingles that is, minus Christmas break and stuff like that. But we used to not work weekends, but only Monday to Friday we do like, 5 jingles. So that is where a lot of learning has happened, man. I've learned so much doing jingles. That main thing is how to compose, like write a hook. It's very difficult to write a jingle hook, and it's even more difficult, I'll tell you, I think it's easier to find God than to convince an advertising agency person. I'll tell you, man, people who've sung jingles will experience that. It's like really, I've had an advertising agency person tell me that the sound effect of this thunder sounds too British. What is British thunder? Tell me what is British thunder. I said, what do you mean? It's thunder, yeah. No, it's sounding very British. It's not sounding Indian. I mean, like what? So, okay, and I'll find you some Indian thunder. So you take the same thunder, I put the pitch down on the sampler bit and played it. Yes. This is Indian thunder. Silly stuff like that, but you have to do it, And that'll teach you a lot. Very important thing to be a composer is be a musician first. Don't just be a composer, because a lot of guys I know who can compose a song with a matchbox as a rhythm, but they can't play a single instrument, And where do Loy, Shankar and I score? We only score on this is that we are musicians first. So you're understanding the instrument, you're understanding the music, you're understanding the melody, you're understanding harmony, you're understanding rhythm. Shankar's sense of rhythm, according to me, is unmatched. I'll tell you something. This is a real honor for Shankar when John McLaughlin's Fourth Dimension performed in Bombay with Ranjit playing drums and stuff. And John went up to the mic and he's saying, there's one person in this audience who's making me nervous today, and that's Shankar Mahadevan. So he's a giant, So, all that stuff is very important. So do that, do a good demo, and I'm sure the work will come. But perseverance, perseverance, like single-handedly, you got to just go for it. Go for it. And yet, your education continues, remember that, man. The thing is, see, in our situation right now, where, as film composers, we basically, you hear all kinds of scripts. The thing is that you want to do a film which is good. I've come across scripts where I've told this guy's a big producer and stuff like that. And I tell you, the film from the script only could tell was a semi-porn film. So, we're not going to sign that, man. You pay me even 20 crores, I wouldn't sign it. Because that is not done. You keep your aesthetics all the time. So that's when you have to say no. Or if you're too busy, like right now, we were supposed to do 2 films. We were supposed to do one big Salman Khan film, which we said no to because we couldn't fit it in with the other film. So we said that, you have to let one go so that you can do one job properly. You have to do that all the time. But I would say that when you're a freelance musician, a session musician, or getting to play with different bands, don't say no to anything. Say yes to everything. Because that's what, you need to. When you're in a situation where you can say no, say no. In the beginning, like I said, I did jingles for $100, man, including taxi fare. To go and play on a scratch jingle. This guy said, man, you need to help me out. I have to do a scratch for some baby powder or something like that. And I want you to play guitar. So I said, okay, how much can you pay? He said, I can only pay $100. Because my budget is some $3,000 at that time. So that included taxi fare. So I made $20 at the end of the day, but I did it. For that, I only got $20, but I got 200% goodwill. My first day at MI, I was face to face with my mediocrity. Completely face to face with my mediocrity. Man, I was in a big band in Bombay. We played IIT, and we used to sign autographs, and the girls wanted to be with us and stuff. I went there, and on the first day, I heard this kid called Tal. I remember his name was Tal. He had a Sunburst Telecaster. And I heard him playing. He was like a cross between Robin Ford and Steve Morse. Now you can imagine the 2 guitar players, And I went and met him, and I was talking to him. He said, how long have you been playing? He said, man, I've been playing for just 2 years. He picked up the guitar 2 years back. And he played like a monster. So that is the first thing you came to terms with. You had no choice. Your pants were pulled down on the first day of school. That, man, you're nothing. There's guys out here who will eat you up. But then after that, as you start interacting, you meet all the teachers and you meet these guys like Robin Ford. I've met Robin Ford. I've hung out and drunk coffee with Joe Pass. I've met Stanley Clark. John Scofield. All these guys were in school and they were hanging out with everybody else. They were such cool guys. You meet them and say that, man, it's just a thing that you got about these musicians. They're all just great guys. And students every day. Joe Pass, my introduction to him, was what? He's saying, hey man, he came and knocked me on the back, and I turned around and I had my guitar with me. I said, Joe Pass, man, I like your jeans. Where do you buy your jeans from? Now, what is I going to tell him that I bought it at Linking Road in Bandra? You know what I mean? That is the way we got chatting. So, that's the way. That school experience was fabulous. Now it's become a lot bigger and stuff like that. So it must be very different. But my experience was when there was just 30 people to a class, and there's all these great teachers, Danny Gilbert, Steve Trovato, all these big guys. And all the visiting faculty was superb at that time. They still are. Scott Henderson was there sitting and playing every day, I decided to do music when I was in the first year of BCom. But the thing is, my folks in fact, this was a good discipline for me. They said that you have to pay for your studies. We want you to study music, which is a fabulous thing. But he's saying that we want you to know the discipline of having started something to complete it. He said, now you've done BCom your first year, finish the 2 years. He said, we don't care if you don't go to college. Fix your attendance. But finish that BCom and spend these 2 years learning more music. Hanging out, playing, start playing with a different band. But fix everything, it's not a good thing to say also. But that is the reality of me then because I didn't want to study. So what did I do? I didn't go to college. I got into serious trouble every year. But I was playing in a band every day. I'd go for rehearsals every day, and that's what I'd be doing. So at the end of the 2 years, I was much more accomplished than I was 2 years before that. So when I went to MI, I was pretty much prepared for that. So that's all I did that before that. I know how much I would like to learn Indian classical, but I just don't have the time. But the thing is that I've got the best teacher in the world. I've got Shankar Mahadevan there. So anything that I'll hear one Hindi song, and I tell him, Shankar, isn't this song the same as that rag as that song? So he says, yeah, that's one. Then he'll sing the rag to me. And he's saying, okay, man, let's write this song. We did a film some time back called Chittagong. And there was a song in that which was based on one, I can't remember, it's very similar. Prakash, it's a very similar rag to Bhim Palasi. Bhagya Shri, correct, that one. So he said, let's compose a thing on that. And so I said, Shankar, show me the scale. So he showed me the scale and I started writing guitar parts around that, Something like that, And so that learning goes on. Like I said, it's again learning every day. I've got briefs from when I've had to do commercials and stuff like that we want this song to be done in Bhairavi or we want it to be done in Malkaun or something like that. Straight phone call. I've got a couple of people I call up. One is Shankar Mahadevan, the other a singer called Mahalakshmi Iyer, who's a fabulous singer. She's one of my favorite singers. Mahalakshmi, help. I'm stuck on this. So she sang me the melody. I said, no, Mahalakshmi, I can't remember. You come to the studio. So you sing me the melody. I'll sing the melody according to what I think on your scale, but I want you to fine tune it for me. And that's the way we work, You got to do that all the time. Your collaborations are very important. The completely ego put aside. I don't mind saying that, man, this person's composed this track actually. I've just arranged it. But you got to do that. Music education is important. The degree is a piece of paper at the end of it, but the education is important. So your experience here is not about the degree you're going to get at the end. Your experience here is about what you're experiencing right now. The degree is then, the education is now. So when I've got a music education degree from MI, I go and show it to a composer in Bombay, they'll tell me to take a walk. You know what I mean? That's not the thing. But the thing is that what have you learned? That's what I want to know. That's what everybody will want to know. That it's not the piece of paper, but it's the experience. And that's what the education is really about. Of course, the paper makes it formal, it's a nice experience. Graduation, that we had a lovely time in MI at graduation. There's all these big guys jamming and stuff like that. Eric Johnson, he was there. And stuff like that. But even they said, that your education begins now. He's saying, this is a piece of paper all of you guys have got. They'll have all done well and it's on paper. But he's saying for a musician, your education will begin now when you take everything that you learned and then start applying it in real life. So it's very important to study music and it's very important to formally study music like the way you guys are studying now. And I'm not talking about putting on YouTube and learning, man. That doesn't work. According to me, it's about face-to-face. It's about interaction. There's a lot of parts of music which will not come through on a television screen. The whole emotional side of music, the whole spiritual side of music, the whole experience of music. People like, I'm sure all the musicians who are teaching you now have had experiences which they can discuss with you about, funny situations like me where I've had to wing it. What do I do? That I can't tell you on YouTube. I can't tell you that on YouTube. I can't have a cup of coffee with you on YouTube. You know what I mean? So it's very important to study music formally. And I just hope more and more people do it. Of course you can, man. There's so many people who have not learned formally. There are people, people all over the world. The Rolling Stones, what did they learn? What did Eric Clapton learn? But then Eric Clapton's not been asked to come and compose a jingle for Pepsi, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You have to be realistic in the place that you are. The thing is like, it's very difficult for me to say that, why musicians here don't make it there. I think that musicians from here don't make it there because they're not there. You have to go there and do the club circuit like everybody else and see what comes up, what works, and then you'll get a chance. So that's the way it works there. You can't be here. Unless you're lucky, like say A.R. Rahman, he composed a film which kind of got in the breaks and stuff like that, but otherwise you can't. You have to be there. But the thing is then you go from here with something that you take from here. Look at Prakash and all. They perform all over the world with everybody. He's as much making it there as he's made it here. He works there, he performs there, he earns money there, he comes back here, he's back home here. He's made it the same way. So, I don't think you need to be there, unless you want to be a pop star or something like that, which, that is another story altogether. I have to dedicate a full hour to that, So, it's a give and take. It's very difficult to break into the scene there, as we all know. But then people have broken into the scene, not that they haven't. But you've got to be there. You've got to persevere. You've got to go and work in a grocery shop. Make sure you make the money to keep yourself, sustain yourself. And there are a lot of other things that go with it, which are very expensive and stuff. Look at the musicians. Look around you, man. The musicians who are teaching and stuff like that, where you look at them and you hear them and they're monsters. And you say, why haven't they made it? But the thing is, it's not about making it. According to me, they've made it. It's not that they needed to make it to be playing guitar with Celine Dion, to be playing guitar with Demi Lovato. They're teaching, they're making a living playing music, and that's what it's all about. That's what making it in music for me means. Making a living in music. Making it should be taken out, and it should be making a living in music. That is what making is concerned. People live their lives doing what you like. You're living your life doing what you love to do. Maybe you're not making as much money as somebody else does, but then would you want to do that? Would you want to be a CEO of a company where your heart is at home with your Fender Stratocaster, but you're sitting there and like trying to work out the flow chart for the next years? Because you don't want to do that. Well, actually, we just yesterday I met the CEO of Universal Music, and I was talking to him. And see, it's tough, but it's developing. It's not yet monetized. That's the problem. The thing is that a lot of independent artists from abroad, across the world, like the Gangnam Style, for example, 14, 15 million views on YouTube. And the thing is that even if you have 2 million views on YouTube, it will not pay you as much money as you should. Like Colin Farrell from YouTube made some $40,000 or something like that. But from iTunes and everywhere else, he's where he made his millions. The thing is that the whole model has changed now, with indie artists. So you've got to do a lot more concerts. That's what they do abroad. Those guys are on the road every day of the year. They're performing in a different city every day. They're getting paid $200. They're getting paid $300. And if you're an independent jazz musician, it's even more tough. The clubs out there don't pay much. They pay $50 per person. But you have to keep doing it because you sustain that way and not complain. Repeat turn on. Return. So that was blues in Bollywood for you.